Hey guys, welcome to another episode in our street rod build here at Minnesota Implement and Moto Gnome. I have no clue what episode number we're on now. Just got back from a run to Hastings, which is just an hour from me. Magically, the other night after I was talking about that I want to find something unique to put in this, that I was going to use a small block Chevy most likely right now because I've got 13 or 15 of them sitting around. I was poking around on Marketplace and happened to come across something quite unique because obviously our build isn't normal, so I don't want just a normal engine, and I'm not a computer person, so I'm not real interested in doing an LS build in this thing. So I was debating on something like a Dodge Magnum V10 or something like that. I'm not a fan of the Cummins builds either, but anyways, I was also contemplating a 6.5 turbo diesel because I have one with a stick. But the world provided, like I say, I don't tend to get real stuck on any one path or one idea because I always feel that the project will evolve as it sees fit. And this is what just happened with this. I just got back from picking up an engine that I found. And some of the old school street rodders are going to recognize this right away. This is something that you really haven't seen in a street rod in probably 20 years or better. This is a 1972 Cadillac 500. They are extremely torquey, as in somewhere in the 400 to 600 foot-pounds of torque range. And depending on the build, if you're running the 1970 version, you've got over 400 horse with almost 600 foot-pounds of torque. As a 72, it is a smogger. It's got the EGR. It did have catalytic converters behind it and all that stuff. So they choked it down to 265 horse and 440 foot-pounds of torque. But it's still substantial torque, and these things were extremely smooth running. And like I say, you haven't really seen these things out there in the world anymore in about 20 years, 25 years. 25 years ago, I had one and I was going to put it in my IROC, and then I figured out that these have the sump pump up front, and there aren't a lot of parts available for them. So there was no way to move the oil sump or change the oil pan without building a pan myself. So I abandoned the idea of putting the Cadillac 472, I believe it was, that I had at that time, into my IROC, and I ended up getting rid of it. But for this particular project, because I'm starting from scratch and building my own fit, I don't care. And in fact, one of the reasons that these engines were so popular for a lot of street rod builds is they're extremely narrow. For a 500 cubic inch engine, this thing's footprint isn't much bigger than a small block Chevy. So the way they tucked the manifolds in on the side of this and kept the starter in tight, and even the air conditioning pump sits up here by the distributor. So it sits up on top of the engine. These fit into the 1930s street rods really, really nice. So they used to be real common to see in them. But this thing popped up on Facebook, and I got a hold of the gentleman that had it. And we talked a little bit about price, and he mentioned that he had it running on the stand, that he just put new distributor, new starter, and had on it, new spark plugs, and fired it up and listened to it run for a half a minute to a minute, and that it sounded real good. And now you'll get people that'll say that to you, and you can't trust them, but this gentleman was talking quite clean to me and being very fair, and he said, well, I'd sell it at what I've got into it if it went to somebody that's building something fun. And so I talked a little bit that I'm building a radical street rod here, and he said, well, I'd like my money back out of it. So we came up with a price of $550, and I went to look at it, and it is a brand new distributor, and new cap, new rotor, new electrical plugs, and a brand new starter in there. And it has a fresh oil change. So, like I say, you obviously got to be careful when you're on Marketplace especially. Craigslist was bad, but Marketplace is horrible for scammers. And in this case, this gentleman was absolutely 100% honest and an amazing person. And so $550 for the engine, the transmission, all of its accessories. There was an extra set of rocker arms and push rods that he let us take with it. And so it just happened that the street rod that he's working on, which was a 48 or 49 Buick, they decided to go a different route because they want to end up with a automatic overdrive in it, and this has the TH400 with it. So because of the gear ratio of the rear end that they're building with, they decided to not go this route because it simply wouldn't get good enough gas mileage for their build. And in my case, I'm making a ground pounder. I'm using this for pulling a trailer, so I want the torque. So I can run bigger tires and still have a low gear ratio axle, a 323 or 353 axle gearing with the 265 tires, and I'll run down the road with this thing at 1600 RPM or less, and I'll get decent fuel mileage because I'm using the torque of the engine like you would with a diesel. So this is perfect for my build, and something, like I say, you just got to know what you're looking at and what you're trying to build, and the world will provide for you. And in this case, this guy, like I say, he's a professional builder and a professional mechanic. Their shop name is Two Rivers Automotive in Hastings, Minnesota. And if you need any work done on classic cars or classic vehicles, they'll also say they do diesel repair and regular automotive repair. Absolutely straight shooter, great guy, great shop. I strongly recommend them. And I'm not getting paid for that endorsement. I just like to promote people and companies that do good. As you've seen on some of my other videos, I am starting to say things about companies that are doing bad. I want to promote companies that are doing good, and Two Rivers Automotive in Hastings I strongly recommend, especially if you've got a project that you haven't been able to finish or that's got quirks that you can't figure out. Give them a shout, because there aren't a lot of shops that'll work on this old stuff anymore, and that's what these guys' specialty is. So we're here at Minnesota Implement trying to get the Moto Gnome street rod shop off the ground, and that's one of the important things when you get into street rodding like this is networking. The car shows are great, and the kudos about, oh, awesome build is great, but you don't get there without the proper networking. So make sure you keep track of those who treat you right and promote them when possible. And like I say, if you need any work, give Two Rivers Automotive in Hastings a call, and keep watching for our other videos on the progress of this build. Thanks for watching.